There is a type of man who never has to chase anyone, not because he is the most handsome, not because he has the most money, not because he is perfect. He is a man who understood something that most will never understand, something that goes completely against everything they taught you about how to earn a woman's respect and her desire. And you understood it wrong, completely wrong. And that has a cost that you are already paying without even realizing it. How many times have you been the available man, the clear man, the man without secrets, the one who was always there, the one who never failed? And how many times did that end in indifference, in distance, in or choosing someone who didn't do half of what you did? That was not bad luck. That was a psychological law operating exactly as it was designed to operate. Today on Dark Illusion, we are going to speak about that law, straightforward, unfiltered, because the truth of why the unpredictable man wins where the transparent man loses is not comfortable, but it is the only truth that matters. And before we begin, subscribe to Dark Illusion right now, and give this video a solid like. What is coming in the next few minutes? You need to hear in its entirety. Let's begin. The human brain is not designed for romantic love. It is designed for survival. And over millions of years, the most important survival mechanism we developed was pattern recognition. If you know where the water is, when the predator arrives, how the environment behaves, you survive. If you do not know, you die. That mechanism still operates today. In every conversation, in every relationship, in every single interaction, and it has a consequence that nobody explains to you clearly. What is completely predictable generates calm. But calm, brother, kills desire. Desire needs tension. Desire needs uncertainty. Desire needs the real possibility that something could be lost, that the outcome is not guaranteed. Without that tension, the brain classifies the stimulus as safe, files it away, and stops paying active attention to it. You become the book she already read, the one where she knows how it ends, the one she no longer opens, because there is no possible surprise left inside. First, total transparency is not a virtue. It is poorly placed vulnerability. They told you that being honest, clear, and consistent was the right way to build a relationship, and in many contexts of life, that is true. But in the dynamics of attraction, applying it without criteria has a devastating effect. The psychologist B.F. Skinner identified decades ago a principle that neuroscience has now confirmed with brutal precision: intermittent reinforcement. When a reward arrives in a predictable, constant, and guaranteed way, the brain's dopaminergic system adapts. The anticipation disappears. And without anticipation, there is no active desire. But when the reward arrives in an irregular way, when you cannot predict when or how, the brain becomes obsessed. Dopamine levels do not drop between rewards, they rise. Because the human brain does not desire what it already has. It desires what it could lose. Imagine the classic behavioral psychology experiment. A lever that always delivers food generates a moderate, predictable behavior. A lever that delivers food in a random, unpredictable way generates a compulsive obsession. The subject presses without stopping, not because they are hungry, but because uncertainty activates a neurological circuit deeper than hunger itself. You have been the lever that always delivers, always available, always reactive, always predictable. And that which you interpreted as a demonstration of value, her brain processed as an absence of scarcity. What is not scarce does not generate obsession. It generates habit, and habit is the graveyard of desire. Next, the man who always reacts communicates that he has nothing more important to do. Dr. David Buss, one of the most cited evolutionary psychologists in the world, demonstrated something that shakes the foundation of what most men believe. Women are biologically oriented toward men who project autonomy and their own direction. Men whose behavior communicates that they have resources, options, and a mission in life that does not depend on any external approval. When you react immediately and predictably to every signal she emits, when you adjust your behavior based on hers, when you collapse with her silence or overactivate with her attention, you communicate exactly the opposite. You communicate that you are reactive to the environment instead of directing it, and that, at an instinctual level, is processed as low value. The unpredictable man is not an unstable or chaotic man. He is a man whose inner life is so solid that external signals do not move him in the same way. His calm under pressure is not a performance. It is the consequence of having his own world that matters more than any validation from the outside. When she throws out a test, expecting you to get angry, justify yourself, or beg, and you respond with a serene, unpredictable calm, something in her limbic system activates with urgency. She cannot predict you, and what she cannot predict, what she cannot file away as known and controlled, occupies her mind compulsively. Who did he talk to? What changed in him? Has he found something worth more than me in the dynamics of desire? Whoever occupies more space in the other's mind holds the real power. Next, the open cycle that her mind cannot let go of. The psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik documented in the 1920s a phenomenon that bears her name and applies here with painful precision. Human beings remember, with much greater intensity, incomplete tasks, open cycles, and stories without an ending than completed experiences. When a story has closure, the brain files it away and releases cognitive resources. When it has no closure, the brain keeps it active, reviews it, and processes it repeatedly, trying to resolve the uncertainty. When you are completely predictable, when she knows exactly how you are going to react, what you are going to write, and when you are going to yield, you are a closed cycle. There is nothing pending, there is nothing that her mind has to resolve about you. But when you break the pattern, when your reaction is not what she expected, when your silence lasts longer than she calculated, when you show up differently from how she had you classified, you open a cycle that her brain cannot ignore, an unanswered question that returns on its own. In the gym, in the car, right before falling asleep. What is he thinking? Why didn't he react like always? What did he discover that I don't know? Those questions are the space you occupy in her mind, without even asking to be there. And that space, brother, is the exact territory where real desire is born. This is exactly where the deep work comes in. The work that separates the man who understands these principles intellectually from the man who lives them with authentic authority. If this is already shifting something inside you, like this video, and subscribe to Dark Illusion right now. We publish every week to keep you grounded. Next, let's look at the difference between genuine unpredictability and the cheap game that does not work. This is the part most men do not understand. Strategic unpredictability is not about ignoring her in a calculated way to generate anxiety. It is not about pretending to be indifferent, while on the inside, you are monitoring her every move. She will detect that, and what is detected as calculation stops being mystery and becomes an obvious performance. Real unpredictability, the kind that generates attraction that cannot be manufactured with tricks, is the consequence of one thing: having a life so full of real purpose that your availability is naturally limited. Not because you decided on it as a strategy, but because you genuinely have something more important to do. Marcus Aurelius wrote it. With a clarity that cuts through centuries, you have power over your mind, not outside events. The man who operates from that certainty does not need to calculate his reactivity. He simply does not react the way the world expects, because his internal state does not depend on any external validation. That man does not disappear as a tactic. He does not put timers on his responses. He does not block her to generate curiosity. He simply lives. He builds. He grows. And when he appears with a presence that needs no explanation. The distinction is fundamental. One is a game that any woman with experience dismantles in days. The other is a character that no strategy can imitate, because it is born from within, finally. What all of this means in practice, it is not about becoming cold or difficult. It is not about generating unnecessary suffering or manipulating anyone. It is about something much more fundamental and much harder to achieve. It is about being a man who genuinely does not need to be chosen to know his worth. When you reach that point, when the foundation of your self-esteem does not live on the thermometer of anyone else's approval, something in your behavior changes so deeply that you do not need any technique. Your presence communicates on its own. Your absence carries weight. Your attention has value because it is not automatic or free. The philosopher Epictetus, who spent years as a slave before becoming one of the most influential thinkers in history, left us with a truth that has not lost an ounce of power in 2,000 years. Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will find peace. The man who does not need external events to turn out a certain way to be okay is the man who projects the calm that is truly magnetic. Not because he decided on it, but because it is the natural consequence of having built something solid on the inside. That man does not beg for attention. He does not adjust his behavior to please. He does not move from his axis because she is distant or cold. He continues. He builds. He exists with a solidity that needs no demonstration. Stop gifting your transparency to someone who uses it to predict you and discard you. Shield your mind, build your life, become the axis of calm that nobody can fully decode. The book they haven't finished reading is infinitely more powerful than the book they already know how it ends. Become that book. Subscribe to the Dark Illusion channel right now. If you are ready for that level, like this video and leave a comment, sharing at what moment in your life you realized that being too predictable was costing you respect. I read every comment.